love just to chat with you and understand your background with the festival. And I see some amazing things in the background that I'd love to talk to you about. But in particular, I'd love to talk about the skateboard that you created and
Yeah,
hear your story about that. And what else are you working on? Do you have any other upcoming
gosh.
events? We can go through all that as much or as little as you like. I'm here to, listen
Man,
and try and amplify your great works.
well, you are too kind. Thank you for this opportunity for sure. I'm changing my running around, running errands head into trying to be semi-articulate.
You.
Okay, very cool. I'm looking at your surfboards in the background too. That's a
Oh, thanks. I'm a big canyon collector. A bunch of
Oh,
old.
nice. It looks like you're sort of Game of Thrones. This is my temple
Yeah, that's
with my boards and everything. But
yeah.
yeah, these characters are kind of near and dear to me, and I can show you I mean, guys get these guys tattooed on their bodies, and
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy.
Wow.
So
Yeah, Damian, tell me how you got involved with the San Diego Surf Festival.
gosh, I'm gonna go way back in time. It may have been the second year or something, third year. And I was invited to be a participating artist. And I think that was the year I did a poster for them
Mm.
for the festival, and I did a big crazy watercolor where the foam in the curl spelled out San Diego International Surf Festival, I think, and then there was an entire silhouetted film crew down below shooting the wave like the wave was the star, drones and everything like that. And that was a big watercolor painting, and then, or it could have been when Pierce did his film. Pierce asked me to do the artwork for his film, and so I went ahead and did something kooky, and it worked perfect. I thought it was a great iconic image for what he was talking about, his narrative about just how we're really messing up the ocean, and sort of the kind of waste that's happening as a result of not just the kind of materials used in surfboards, but also those big clothing manufacturers. It's kind of a disposable, toxic world. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure. To answer your question, I am not sure whether it was the poster that came first for the movie or the poster for the. And then I've done other stuff. I've done other stuff for him too. I was a featured artist one year, and we painted a crazy mural. And I was a judge at the art contest, which everybody won, by the way.
Uh-huh. Awesome.
That's the way Pierce rolls, right? Everybody wins. So
Yeah, he's great.
yeah.
Well,
Well, let me show you the deck that I worked on. And when I got it, it was black like this. So
wow.
traditionally you paint on the bottom of a deck, and the reason you do that, obviously, is the top has always got the grip tape. So this one is called Partywave, and I'll move it around a little bit so that you can avoid seeing some of the glare. The glare will knock out a lot of it. There's a lot of detail in here, but
What
the idea here is we've got what appear initially to be sweet little Disney characters surfing, but then the more you look at it, you realize that it's a ridiculously steep takeoff. And those aren't, in fact, Disney characters. Those are dark Disney characters. You see here, that's not Donald, that's Skull Duck. The guy in the middle is Cyclops Dog. And at the bottom that's not a mouse. No, that's a rhinoceros. And that is Ricky Rhino. And these characters, I just love returning to them. I paint all kinds of urban surf work, but these guys I come back to because they're just so much fun. They're outcasts. Not everybody makes the Disney cut. Not everybody is an animation superstar. And these guys are sort of cast off characters. There is my son and I were working on a script, and he's so clever. His name's Soren Fulton. And his idea, he liked all and was inspired by all these characters, and he wrote this story. And the way it goes is these guys they're not quite as beautiful as the Disney characters, but they are close enough to become their stunt doubles. And so they're just sort of behind the scenes, beat up, bloodied cartoon characters that never really made the grade. But anyway, this is Partywave. And I hope you can see it okay. I'll send you some close-up pictures, or if you'd like, I guess everyone can look online. This is the medium is mixed medium. It's mostly acrylic, just good old black and white acrylic. But what I do is I paint a little, I paint the whole thing in brown first, which produces a really lovely, if you look closely, you'll see a little bit of a warm that contrasts. Down here, you can really see it in Ricky Rhino's shorts. That warmth creates a little bit of vibrancy between the cooler grays and that underpainting warmth. I sort of allow that to sneak through, so it's not perfectly opaque. And it has kind of more of an old world feel, kind of sepia tone in the cracks. And I just really love painting that way. And yeah, I use acrylic paint, and I use some markers for details, and I just try to stop at some point, because otherwise you can go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and you start getting into like pores. And then at that point, I'm always worried that the painting is so tight that it loses its action and its its vitality. It becomes, I call it constipated, when you go so far, like painting from photos, so close to the photo that it stilts it.
Yeah, it's an incredible suspension of disbelief, because when I look at it, I fall between, is that a photo? Is that real life? And so there's this twaning of perception that's augmented with the color palette. But, the other thing about seeing these characters, and I do hope to, mark history as an early indication of seeing more of these characters, because I'd love to see this entered into the film series someday as a produced work of art. But, these guys are relatable. These people are, not the creme de la creme, but, your average working surfer out there, making it a real life. And, I'm really impressed by your patience and tenacity to prove that. And I look forward to seeing more.
Well, I like that description, and I'll tell you why. When I got into painting, I worked for big agencies, and I worked for Disney. So I have that background. I worked for Marvel when it was an animation company. So I do completely understand the kind of middle of the road, classic production schedule and look and feel of what's acceptable. And when I try to apply that to, let's say, surf art, which I think is an odd genre, how do you define it anyway? But what appeals to me is not the perfectly idealistic brochure painting of a wave or a beach scene. That I more enjoy the storytelling that comes, as you said, we're not all exactly perfect. We're not all the same. The surf culture isn't antiseptic and distilled into clean, nice little boxes. When I moved from Orange County to LA, Orange County had just got beautiful beaches, and LA County is just a little sketchier, and the vibe in the water sometimes is, I guess that's everywhere, right? Localism. Yeah. But I know you probably know spots in San Diego where you really probably shouldn't go out if the locals are ticked.
Yeah. I think I'd dare say in general, it's getting nicer. I was surfing trestles in the morning a couple of weeks ago. And that's where people were saying there. And, there was no hostilities. It's like one guy felt wronged, and he came up to the other guy. He's like, pick a number. And he's like, 3. He's like, you got to wait 3 waves. You got to give me 3 waves before you go again to.
Wow.
Like, this gives me hope that,
Yeah, good.
can be great again.
Yeah.
It's going to be us living through and letting go, some dark histories that, but you know what? It wasn't just us. I mean, I think the movie Surf 2 got it right when Buzz Cola was made in an oil refinery. There's so much DDT dropped in the ocean. You can't expect this to be normal.
Well, I really appreciate what you said. I also grew up skiing, and in skiing there isn't this sort of elbowing the guy off the run. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
man, fresh powder if you're lucky enough to find it, and you go first, I'll go second, or we go together and we enjoy it. Now it's a wider face than a wave, but yeah, I hope. Boy, that's a really optimistic view. I like that very much. I'm going to hold on to that.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure talking about your deck and your artistic vision, and you're easy to talk to. And do you have any other events coming up this year or any other pieces that you're working on that you kind of want to keep people?
You are so sweet to ask. I am overrun with opportunity, and I think the Stoics said something like the death of, oh gosh, I'm going to botch it, but the idea is having too many choices is really dangerous. I'm blessed because I recently retired from my full-time gig as a director and creative director for agencies, and so I am just so into the paint, and I'm so thankful that there's still opportunities, because I was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was painting all the time, and then this job became so heavy. But back to your original question, what I'm looking forward to is there is a show out in Venice called I think it's called Cartoon Dissidents, and it's sort of a traditional lowbrow show at a place called the Art Bar in Venice. And really happy invitation group show. So I'm in that. And then I just painted, oh shoot, I dropped it off already, but I'm going to send you this image. I think you'll get a kick out of it. At the Huntington Beach International Surf Festival, they're doing a tribute to Duke. And I did a portrait for that, representing the full span of Duke's influence. We know that he invented the flutter kick. He brought surfing to mainland America and New Zealand and Australia, and he did a bunch of other things. Multiple gold medalists in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And this year, LA, let's just call this Southern California, gets the Olympics, and so each artist that was selected for this group picked a period, and because I guess they think I'm a gnarly art painter, that they gave me the future. They're certain that I was going to paint something very dystopian, but I think it's very optimistic and light, and has kind of that callback feeling from the '84 Olympics in LA. So I'll send that to you too as well, and you can post that. It's really fun. What else do I have? I have some commissions I'm doing, and there's something else coming up. Sorry, I can't remember it, but that's what happens when you get to be an old dude. But thank you so much for asking me. If anybody's interested, they can find me on Instagram at Damian Fulton, and any other kind of social platform. I'll have a book coming out in a couple months, a paperback of the complete episodes of Radical Rick, which was an icon in the BMX extreme sports world back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And so suddenly everybody likes him. I'll show you.
Oh, Radical Rick. Boy.
He looks kind of like this. And he was just a fun-loving kid with an overabundant rad gland. And he had a long run in the BMX magazines. And now, everything old is cool again. So suddenly he's in demand. So yeah, lots of stuff going on. That book comes out April 1st.
Oh, good job.
Really? Really, April 1st, I hope. But man, I really appreciate you taking the time and talking with me as well. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely, Damian. Thank you. Yeah, keep me in touch. You got any events, send it over and we'll keep everybody connected.
Oh, man. By the way, I have to ask, are you a channel? Are you a podcast? You're a great MC.
Oh, thank you. That's nice of you to say. I've been, I don't know. I'm currently going by like the world's lifeguard or something, but I did a lot of stuff. I was trained to run a ski resort by the guy who made the gondola in Tahoe.
What?
Yeah, yeah, Bill Killebrew.
Oh, I know, Bill. I don't. Well, you're gonna crack up. We have similar worlds.
You said
Bill
powder, yeah.
Bill Killebrew is a very good friend with my brother-in-law, Tim Cohey. I don't know if you ever recognize Tim Cohey's name.
Wow.
Do you
Oh
know
my,
that name?
it sounds
Tim.
familiar. I worked with Bill out at Eldora in the 90s,
Okay.
like the junior mountain manager, but left
Oh,
before
wow.
I moved up. But he was really influential and a great guy, and I think you're very lucky to know him. He's like one of the highest like IQ people I could possibly.
Well, I have to an asterisk. I don't know him. I know of him through the praise of my brother-in-law, Tim Cohey, who is currently running, and he's a major owner of China Peak,
Hmm.
ex marketing guy at or COO of Kirkwood, of Heavenly. So he traveled in that circuit. He probably knows who you are. And
Maybe.
then,
Boy, I was in the ski industry in the 90s, but then I went and worked at a search engine in San Francisco and, opened an agency, Liberty Media Company. I did Sherry's Berries 5 years and grew it from 10 to
I
100.
remember it. That is so amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm
Wow.
keeping
You
some.
poor guy, you were in the ad business. I was in the ad business for a long time. I'm so happy to be out of it. I'm so
Oh,
happy.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there's a couple of points that I like to keep my hand in, but yeah, it can be dreary too, especially so, as you were serving many clients simultaneously, that takes a lot of horsepower and
Yeah.
more fun to put it into, passion projects sometimes.
I I I totally agree. And one of the things that I love about the art is no focus groups, no approvals, no revisions. So it's incumbent on you to do good work. Like I want to do work that nobody can deny it's good. I know that sounds super egotistical, but I know when I do crappy stuff, I don't feel good with myself. I don't like phoning it in. And, I can look back and see tons of projects and things that I've done, artwork in particular, where I said, okay, yeah, I had to get that one done quick. Oof. Oh boy, that anatomy is way off. Ooh. I really should have done a value study. It's this kind of stuff that now that I'm in the autumn of my years, I want to do kick-ass stuff that I will never be ashamed of. And I'm at the point too where my wife is always saying I never charge enough, always. And because I never did it for money. But now I'm like going, okay, I think my work I've earned the price tag, and
Yeah.
I'm not outrageous, but I mean, instead of giving stuff away, like you look at the number of hours I put in that board, instead of getting paid $1 an hour, I'm getting paid $2 an hour.
Yeah, yeah. And it will ring out across the land. And segue, I hope to see more of this project and development.
Oh, that's great. Oh, you'll love this one. Oh gosh. You'll appreciate it. Only you will. This is a commission. This is the base painting
Uh-huh.
of a commission.
Mm. Wow.
Uh,
Oh, I love the color palette on that.
oh yeah, and this is
Some
just
corduroy.
underpainting. So my hope is that I put layer upon layer on it, and I'm also trying. This is so scary for me. I don't know if you'll appreciate this, but normally I really like having a roadmap. Because I'm so likely to go rogue and do my own thing. There are certain projects that I can't do that. I have to really be on task, because otherwise, if it's too spontaneous, there's projects where I love, like live painting. I love being spontaneous. And if it's more impressionistic or if it's more fantastical, but like a piece like this, I try to make it look very free and spontaneous and fun, and like, oh, I wasn't even trying. But there's a lot of work that goes behind that, and I'm concerned and I care about the values and the body positions and how they all work together. Where this one, the ski painting, I don't have a sketch. I don't have, I have references that I'm kind of looking at, but I'm like, I wonder if this is gonna, I don't know this, I don't have an idea. This one, the board, I knew it was gonna, I knew in my head what I wanted it to look like. I wanted to look like classic 40s animation. This one, it's like, okay, Damian, the guy is gonna get what I'm gonna give him. Or this one over here, do you see that board over there?
Yeah, immediately I recognize that one. That's great.
That one, that board is called, it's the Franken board. It's been in like a bunch of shows, you know, good quality shows. It was at the Peterson, and but that one is a little bit of planning and then a lot of just improvisation. But it's scary. It's scary to go down that road. So, but anyway, I'm looking forward to doing more of this sort of spontaneous. I call it spontaneous eruption, where I'm relying more on my ability to get out of the escape room versus being so tight that it just becomes an assignment. There is some mystery in this one, in the ski painting. Scares me to death, but I go to bed thinking about like, okay, what do I do? Pink, what am I thinking? So anyway, thank you for letting me process all this. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no, I hear you in and out. Sometimes, working, I mean, when I commission art, sometimes I love to at least give a specific roadmap as a starting point. I mean, for characters, I'll break a percentage breakdown of different emotions that I hope that they can draw together and express and really take the time. But, I'm sure we both had clients too, where they don't know how to express any kind of that. And you just kind of got to pick up on it another way, and you can take some liberties in the process. But, it's fun to do both.
I do. And the other thing you mentioned that if you commission art, for me, it's so much better if there is a little roadmap, right? And then leave it up to me to come to the composition. What is the story? What's happening? But if some guy goes, do whatever you want, paint whatever.
Yeah,
that's too scary. I go, well, let's take a look at my website. Let's take a look. What do you like? What speaks to you? What do you like? And then I can kind of sort of, it must be like you musician, where, if someone goes, make me a song. Well, is it soft jazz? Is it punk rock? Is it, can you give me a little bit, narrow the field a little bit?
Yeah. Pick 1 out of 7 colors or something and, take a shot.
Yeah. Well, listen, I really appreciate it again. Thank you for taking the time out.